Today's story is chapter 55. Okay. First, master the basics. A youth came to the home of a famous Italian master to beg for voice instruction, only to be curtly refused. "Give it up," said the master. "The way of a musician is hard." Earnestly the youth replied, "I will endure any suffering. Please teach me," on condition that he never utter a word of complaint. However difficult his life became, the musician finally consented to take him on. That very day, the youth moved in and commenced to study voice, in between managing all the household, cooking, cleaning, and laundry. For the entire first year, he practiced nothing but scales. The second year was more of the same. He hoped that in the third year he might be allowed to work on something else, but again it was scales, scales, and more scales. When the fourth year ended the same way, the youth finally expressed dissatisfaction. "Sir, could you possibly teach me something else?" The master dismissed the words with a sharp rebuke. In his fifth year, the student learned the chromatic scale and how to sing sotto voce. At the end of the year, the master told him, "You may go now. I have no more to teach you. Now you can sing in front of anyone without fear." The youth's name was Gaetano Majorano, 1710 to 1783. Under the stage name Caffarelli, he went on to become the greatest Italian opera singer of the 18th century. It's wrong to look down on mere scales and exercises. The master poured his soul into teaching them to the prodigy for 5 years, precisely because he knew that once he had mastered the basics, he would be able to sing any music, however difficult. In any endeavor, mastering the basics is essential. Okay, that's today's story. Very inspiring indeed. I'm not familiar with opera or any singing practices, but I understand the message very well. Yeah, focusing on one single method or practice for 5 years, that's really kind of beyond our imagination. Usually we want change and we get bored so easily and quickly. It's really difficult to continue just one thing for even a few months. And maybe that's the reason there are not many successful people, for example, in business or in art or any human activities. In Buddhism, in our spiritual journey, maybe the basics means the law of cause and effect, for example. Yeah, there are many important teachings, but the law of cause and effect is the very basic teaching. It consists more than 90% of Buddhism. Siddhartha Gautama always taught this law. Yeah, for his almost entire of his 80 years of life. Only at the end, he shared something else, which is the advanced level of teaching. But once we understand this law, the law of cause, condition, and effect, yeah, we can share Buddhism with any kind of a person, and any kind of human suffering uh, will be solved, although it's temporarily, by applying this law. And then, for the first time, we can understand the deeper part of the teaching. So we should not look down the teaching of the law of cause and effect, thinking that we already know this, we already heard this so many times. Even though how many times we hear and learn this law, it's not enough. It's the truth of the universe. With our limited human wisdom, it's really difficult to understand it completely. So, yeah, we should remind us all the time the title. First, master the basics. Okay, I think that's what we can learn from today's story.